Hey guys, it's 8 Bits of Chips here, and as you can see, today we'll be talking about RetroPie. So, in case you didn't know what it was, RetroPie is a retro gaming emulator operating system for the Raspberry Pi 1, 2, and 3. So, if you didn't know, an emulator is a software that will emulate or simulate the environment another program or software needs to run. So if you've ever used emulators before, you'll know you'll have to download a ROM, which is like your game, and then you'll have to download the emulator itself, which will allow you to run and play that game. So using RetroPie, you can go ahead and play a whole bunch of old school video games, anything up to the N64 in terms of timelines. So you got access to the Atari, PSX, Super Nintendo, and a whole bunch of others. So in this video, we'll be talking about how to install it, some games that you can play, controllers, and that's about it. Alright, so let's get on with it. So we're on the RetroPie downloads website right now. I'll link that in the description. Donate them to them because it's a really great project. For this project, I'm using RetroPie version 4.3, released on September 21st of 2017. So here you'll have to download the most current version. I prefer RetroPie over Recalbox, which is the stock gaming console for various reasons. But either way, check them out. Go to their home, donate to them because it's a really great project. But what we're here for the purposes of this video, is to go ahead and download Raspberry Pi, the operating system for Raspberry Pi 0 to 1, 2, or 3, so that we can build. So once you've gone ahead and downloaded that, you want to go ahead and format this onto a SD card. If your SD card is for your Raspberry Pi is 32 gigabytes and below, you want to go ahead and format in FAT32, and then go ahead and input the image file and insert that into your Pi. If it's above 32, such as a 64 or 128, you will have to format as exFAT, format the SD card in the exFAT file system, and then go back and do the same thing. Keep in mind, formatting it is vital, otherwise this won't work. So once you've gone ahead and done that, plug it into your Pi, plug that into a monitor, and what you want to do is you'll want to have a Wi-Fi connection for this. So make sure you boot up RetroPie, set up the Wi-Fi connection, and then you'll want to go ahead and have a controller that you can use. I would recommend a wired controller such as a PlayStation or Xbox controller, and maybe a USB stick if you want to go ahead and do a few other things. So I'm here right now on the web version of the Raspberry Pi ROM transfer. To get to this, you'll go ahead and type in your RetroPie's IP address, :8000/systems, and then another /. And this will allow you to see, access all of your BIOS, your ROMs, monitor the CPU, see the temperature. And as you can see, it emulates a whole lot of systems. Game Boy Advance, FBA, Arcade, Game Gear. Game Gear was a really interesting system. I myself have been dabbling in a bit of the N64. I have Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time downloaded. So, you can emulate and play a lot of games here. All you got to do is drag and drop into that upload system. So, So as you can see here on screen, this is what your setup should look like. Controller, monitor, Pi 3 on the bottom right, and my Pi 2 is on the top, not connected. Here's another view of that. My HDMI, my USB stick, and whatnot. So the USB stick is important because if you don't want to transfer your ROMs via the internet, you'll have to go ahead and use the USB stick. Just plug it in and format that. RetroPie will format it, and you'll manually transfer your ROMs through that. But if not, as you can see here, I have my Xbox One non-Bluetooth controller plugged in via an micro USB. I have a keyboard plugged in, and I have my 8BitDo FC30 gamepad handy. As you can see, I have quite a few games here. Prince of Persia is one of my favorites. Minish Cap also. So, you can play this as a normal game. As you can see, I'm using the Xbox controller. It'll boot up just like it would. If you don't like the overscan on this, you can always go ahead and edit that using the config files. And yeah, so here's what it looks like one more time. I have a keyboard attached. I have one wired controller, my FC30 wireless controller, and my ROM stick, and my HDMI cable and power. With my Pi 3 right now. It has built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, but if you're using the Pi 2 or any type of Pi system without Wi-Fi, you'll have to buy an external dongle. So, you can also use this for two-player games. Right now I'm going to pick up my FC30 and head on over to my Super Nintendo for Mario World in a moment. But yeah, here's a list of emulators. Macintosh, N64, Game Boy Color. So, yeah. So here I'm booting up a bit of Mario World, Super Mario World. And you can use this as a two-player system. Uh, yeah. So if you end up using the ROM stick USB to go ahead and transfer your ROMs wirelessly, you'll have to format it correctly, FAT32, and keep in mind, from what I've heard, your Raspberry Pi will be dependent on that stick now to function for RetroPie. So meaning if you don't have that ROM stick installed, you're going to have some problems running your ROMs. I haven't tried this out myself since I don't use it, but that's what I've heard. So anyway, guys, that's the end of this video. Have fun with RetroPie, and that is a finish.